Welcome back. One of our guests tonight, Joe Carvin, Republican, running for Congress in New York's 17th Congressional District in the Lower Hudson Valley. Looking to oust longtime Representative Nita Lowey. Just released the first TV ad of the race. Take a look.
Washington politicians have failed us. Jobs are scarce. Federal debt has skyrocketed. Taxes in Westchester and Rockland are out of control. Nita Lowey has been in Congress for 24 years. She is part of the problem. Joe Carvin knows how to fix the economy. As Rye-Town supervisor, he has a record of cutting taxes and spending and has been working to eliminate his own job as supervisor because he believes government is too big. Westchester and Rockland need Joe Carvin in Congress.
I'm Joe Carvin, and I approve this message.
No, you come on the show, you get a free plug your spot. Now, the implication of the ad, and hit you over the head, is that Washington isn't getting stuff done. And indeed, that's more true than not. Out of more than 3,000 bills that were introduced so far in 2012, get this, 61, only 61 have become law. Congress on track to make history with the least productive legislative year in the post-World War II era. But my question, Joe, is, you're completely right. Nobody likes them, and you're insane to try and join them, but that's another issue. But who's in charge? The Republicans are in charge. We had how many? 23 times that we voted to repeal Medicare. We knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. And these guys left for break. And among the stuff they never voted on, what was going to happen to the post office, cybersecurity, farm bill, Agriculture Disaster Assistance Act, stuff that you know very well, International Violence Against Women Act. Whose fault is it that DC's dysfunctional? Because we agree it is, but is it really the minority party at the time or no?
Well, at the end of the day, I think look, America's being challenged as never before, and we have to have these kind of adult conversations we're having about Medicare. I think it's important to get the facts in front of the people. Ultimately, America's divided, and you know, I think we have an opportunity. One of the nice things about Ryan coming into the race, it is a race, it's going to be a race centered on the issues. And secondly, I think you have a clear choice. I think President Obama, to his credit, says, I fundamentally disagree with the approach, and so you're going to have a clear choice between two different approaches, and you have that here with myself and Congressman Lowey. We have two very different life experiences. I have 30 years business financial experience. I've lived on 5 continents, speak 5 languages, and also have government experience. I've been Rye-Town supervisor for the last 4 years. I've reduced taxes every year I've been in office, cut expenditures, and trying to eliminate my own layer of government, trying to eliminate my own job. So I think we need to downsize government. For me, here's prosperity. Here's where we are. We got to downsize government.
But let's say you win. You go to Washington, and you're faced with people who almost seem determined that the body that they were elected to serve is the problem. And it seems that they're far more interested in posturing than they are to find middle ground. Now, you've been on the show before, and I believe that you believe that compromise is not a 4-letter word. There are elements in your party that don't feel that way. And my point is, the whole center point is, you got to fix Washington. Is it replacing Democrats the answer? Because people can say, well, the Tea Party's argument has been, and they've had a huge stake here on the platform, that, you know, the government as a whole is the problem, and they're being, many people would say, obstructionary to change.
Look, at the end of the day, we're not going to solve any of the fundamental problems with any single party. We're going to have to come together to solve the problems of the nation. Now, this week we got a terrific example of somebody who was post-partisan. Erskine Bowles came out, President Clinton's former chief of staff, came out and lauded and congratulated Paul Ryan for being serious-minded about reform. I think we need to reach across the aisle and work with people who are serious-minded. This is not about Republican or Democrat. It's not about Joe Carvin or Nita Lowey. It's about serious-minded people taking responsibility for their community.
But even Ryan, okay, who I believe, I may fundamentally disagree with what he says, but he at least believes in the substance of his proposals. Right. He's a lot less incendiary than a lot of folks, but if you look at his record, he has not voted across the aisle. I mean, you could probably count on one time. So he believes in principle, and isn't that the problem we have right now, where it is so divisive? The idea of Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan sitting down over drinks and working out a deal, you don't do that anymore.
Yeah, well, the president had a beer at the White House, so yeah. I mean, we still do that. No, and I agree. We are in a what I would call a hyper-partisan political space, where we need more people like you that are saying I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to sign the Norquist Pledge. I'm actually going to be an independent thinking elected official, and I wish you luck and support you in that, because what I understand is happening a lot across the country in members of Congress in the Republican Party. They are so afraid of the backlash from not signing the Norquist Pledge. You have Republicans afraid of the Tea Party, and that is putting.
Look at some of the guys that are now looking for work after years of service.
Exactly.
Let me get to the next issue, and Tom, I'm going to start with you. Romney and his taxes. Well, he said, yes, I have paid it, 13% at that. Take a listen.
Over the past 10 years, I never paid less than 13%. I think the most recent year is 13.6 or something like that. So I've paid taxes every single year. Harry Reid's charge is totally false. I'm sure waiting for Harry to put up who it was that told him what he says they told him. I don't believe it for a minute, by the way.
Okay, well, he doesn't believe Harry, and Harry and the Democrats don't believe him, saying, put up your returns and we'll drop the subject. Does the public care?
Of course the public cares. This is remarkable, what's going on. Two problems here. Okay, Mr. Romney, you pay 13%. We don't. Most of us pay, what, 30%?
Oh, I'd love to pay minimum. Yeah.
So that's problem number one. And you make a lot more money, Mr. Romney, than all of us combined. Problem number two, so you say you paid 13%. Sorry if you accuse me of being a skeptic, but that's what us journalists do, and consultants and so on.
But is it journalists, or is it now between Harry Reid and him?
No, he wants it to be about Harry Reid. This is about the public. You just can't say you pay 10% over for every year for 10 years and expect for us to believe that with no documentation. We're just supposed to believe you when you're running for the highest office in the land?
I just got a basic question. I know we got to go break. Why not just put him out there and then say, here.
You already know
the
the
only
answer
reason
why.
I would say is, well, listen, the four of us, in the end, you put it out there and say, eat this, Harry. See, I paid it. American public doesn't like paying taxes. So if you can pay what you can pay and not pay a cent more, they don't begrudge you. But if it's in the Caymans, if it's in a Swiss account, if he's tithing big numbers here to the Mormon church, there's going to be some people, I think. What do you think it's in there that's given him the pause in the primary and now in the general to get these numbers out?
Well, the reality is all it does is reinforce the narrative against him, which is that he is moving his money to the Caymans. He isn't paying taxes like the rest of us. While he was estimating his income at $20-something million last year, paying 13%, the president earned 1.4 million, paid double that rate at 26 and change. So.
Look, I think tactically, clearly, candidate Romney, Governor Romney, should have put him out a while ago, because if he did, then we wouldn't be talking about this, and we're distracted. My concern, we were going to be talking about this till election day. We have much more fundamental problems to talk about.
All right, we're going to jump to a break. When we come back, we're going to introduce a very interesting guy, a conversation I had earlier today, the man who the New York Times calls a kind of Solomon, who decided, after many moments of tragedy, what your loss is worth, literally. Kenneth Feinberg, man at the center in a post-9/11 America of what families, of grieving victims here, what they would get here for the loss of their loved ones. His conversation right after this.